science and engineering. Robotics is open to high school pupils as well as college and university students. For more on this, I'm joined by the chairperson of the AAD Youth Development Program, Kholisile Khumalo, and aeronautics engineering student, Kholisile. Gentlemen, welcome and thank you so much for joining us. Now, I get all fuzzled when we have to speak technology, especially when it comes to bots. All right, so in this world of fourth industrial revolution talk and unparalleled technology we're currently seeing today, what is the AAD basically doing to make sure that children fall in love with technology?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having us, and we're really, really delighted to be here, myself and Kolani. The AAD is focusing on youth development program, and we have been doing this for the past between 10 and 12 years. Our focus is primarily to let our children fall in love again with mathematics and science. You know, the country is facing one of the key challenges with regards to developing engineers, making sure that, you know, we have a lot of uptake in mathematics and science. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of Department of Basic Education around the country are trying to encourage the youth to take up mathematics and science so that we can, you know, actually compete with the rest of the world when it comes to the fourth industrial revolution. And, you know, a gentleman like Kholisile is one such example that benefited from the AAD Youth Development Program.
All right, tell us a little bit about the program itself before we delve into the competition and touch base with Kolani in a moment.
So what we do is every 2 years at Waterkloof Air Force Base, there's this massive air show that happens. So within the air show, we actually took a conscious decision based on the challenges that we're facing within the defense, aviation and aerospace industries. And those challenges are as follows. We're having a shortage of engineers in the country. Engineers are leaving the country to go and join other first world, highly developed countries. We're not producing enough maths and science students that will actually now go to university and study electrical engineering, electronics, aeronautical engineering. Those are the three key challenges that we're facing. Our industries are growing at a rapid pace. We have recently secured, very, very advanced technologies with our strategic defense package, in recent years. Those technologies will require engineers, flight mechanics, pilots to be able to be maintained and to ensure that our country is secure. And that is the emphasis that we're having to say we need to start pumping the industry, the defense, the aviation industry with youths that really, really fall in love or falling in love with mathematics and science. And this is a classic example.
Fantastic. So Kolani, I want to know, so you're studying aeronautical engineering, second year, I believe.
Second year.
When did you fall in love with robotics, science and maths?
So basically who I am and where I come from, I had no idea before I went to the show, to the program, before 2016. So my career was basically based on what movie was I watching the previous Saturday. So for instance, if watching Drumline, and then I joined some band and then stuff like that, and then I came in contact with Mr. Khumalo 2016, and then ever since that day I just dedicated I just don't see myself doing anything other than being an aeronautical engineer for my country.
Fantastic.
And what he's not mentioning is he's actually building a turbojet engine. He is building that by himself at the backyard in his grandfather's garage.
Turbojet engine.
Turbojet engine.
All right, before we get to that brilliant invention, tell us about the competition.
Okay.
So you're inviting high school students as well as university first-year students, etc.
Yes.
And the competition, I believe, is running from next year,
yes.
January, winners being announced
Absolutely.
in December.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
We are basically going to announce the timelines on our website. So again, to inspire our kids, at schools, particularly township schools, deep rural schools, to say, look, you need to start looking at science again. It's very, very exciting. We're going to be launching the robotics competition in partnership with Paramount and other organizations. Now, the competition is going to be run in this format. We're going to have regional competitions across the country. The winners of those regional competitions will then come to the nationals. And the nationals finals will be next year towards the end of the year, and that's where we're going to be awarding a school a really, really big prize, to actually be winning that. But I think the biggest prize that the country will be benefiting from this is re-inspiring our children to re-fall in love with mathematics and science again.
Fantastic. I don't know if the camera can zoom into what you're holding there now.
So
tell us a little bit about what it is that you are encouraging the kids and the schools to do in terms of this competition. Maybe if we can just pan into that device over there.
So this is a balancing board. It's basically a robot that was built by students from various townships across in our country. So it was built by students, which says the message that we are sending that it is possible for you to actually conquer mathematics and science. So it's a balancing board, it basically does balances, and if you put it on a wooden platform, it will do balancing maneuvers. You put it through an obstacle, it will actually be able to balance. So these are the types of robots that the kids will be building. Not only this one, we've got quite a number of other robots that the kids will be building, throughout the competition. And the best school, to actually build a robot that performs certain tasks is the school that's going to be winning.
Now, Xolani, you're doing some amazing things in your second year. You told us that you fell in love with science and all things technology from a young age. Tell us about what you're currently working on.
So I'm building a turbojet engine. It's so it's basic at this stage. It's not yet finished. It's some sort of a prototype. So I'm going to use that it makes my learning easier. So for instance, it's what I'm doing at school. So everything I learn from school, I take it and then I try to apply it and then try to improve my jet engine. It moved from just a drawing with blades to something that's somehow physical. I'm building it in my grandfather's garage. Yes.
I think so too.
Yes.
These fantastic inventions always start with garages. I'm thinking of Steve Jobs as you said that. But now tell me, a lot of people who come up with great inventions have a cause. They see wherever they're staying, whether it's their own community, there's a societal problem that they are trying to solve. A lot of inventions and technologies trying to maybe help with water, programs and so forth. So what is your project's focus? What are you particularly wanting to have this device do to help that problem?
So my main motive is basically to sort of inspire. I would just want to make my friends, because growing up we used to from Soweto, so we used to do a lot of bad stuff, me and my friends. So some of my friends are still doing that. Some of my friends are homeless, some of my friends are in prison, some of my friends passed away. So I'm just trying to show where I come from that we can do stuff that we never thought we could do. We could accomplish things things we never thought we could accomplish. So that's my basic. And it's actually working because recently I posted a picture of mine at the air show that was happening in Tunis this September. And then so I posted the picture, I took a picture with a lady called Dumi, and then I posted it, and then people commented on the picture, Xolani, you might not know it, but then you're an inspiration to us. And then I just posted the picture because I thought it was nice. And then, but then people's comments, I still get sometimes messages from guys older than me and guys younger than me and guys my age, and ask me Xolani, for instance at school, someone will text me and Xolani, I don't think I can do this anymore, and I'll tell you that you came, I'll just try and advise on how to do that. I've got people looking after me just for doing something as small as that.
Yes.
Fantastic. So you are an inspiration to a number of people. And at the heart of these programs, I think that's what it speaks to. For somebody to do something and obviously inspire many other children to fall in love with these subjects. Now, talking about that, inspiration and learning, from people like the likes of the Xolanis of the world, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, otherwise known as STEM in South Africa, is still a big, major problem for the education department. Are you working very closely with the department? Are you working very closely with the teachers, for instance, who have to then instill this inspiration to young people like the likes of Xolani?
And that question is spot on. For example, what we have done in 2016, a school in Tanzania in East London, Wongaletu High School, we identified these challenges with regards to STEM, and we donated 20 computers the Department of Education in the Eastern Cape came and donated 20 additional computers to the teachers. So we're digitizing that school. But beyond that, pedagogy is very, very important, learning and teaching in schools. And that school can now have access to telematics education, that they didn't have prior to that. Earlier this year, we went to the Armed Forces Day in the Northern Cape in Kimberley. We donated 20 computers to a school in a remote village called Tronkwesa. That's the name of the school, is Tronkwesa in Platfontein, a really forgotten community, working in partnership with the Department of Education in the Northern Cape. The leading province, which is the Free State, we hosted hundreds of students recently now at the air show. So what we do at the air show, we have a career expo, and it's not a bags and brochures career expo, as you can see with this. The companies that are coming to our career expo are actually bringing advanced technologies, number one. Then they bring real-life human beings, pilots, engineers, scientists, who are going to be discussing and telling these kids that, look, I come from the townships. I grew up in the same conditions that you grew up in. You have no excuse to say that you cannot study mathematics and science. We worked with another school, another amazing school here in Mamelodi, Ribanelaka High School, earlier this year, cleaning the schoolyards. And we were saying to kids that, it doesn't matter the conditions that you live in. It is possible for you to be able to conquer, the current challenges.
Fantastic.
With the address of, focusing on the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very quickly, how can people get a hold of you, especially young kids who are watching and are inspired by both you and Xolani?
aadexpo.co.za. aadexpo.co.za. All our information is there.
Kholisile and Xolani, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so very much for having us.